Hello and welcome back to another video on how to level up fast in Hearthstone. So today I'm going to look at this Shaman deck that I've got here. The Shaman has been, especially with the new expansion, is a deck which has been really very prevalent throughout the whole thing really. And what I've done here is this is obviously a wild deck. What I've done here is try to collect all the cards that I feel basically the best new cards. There are some notable omissions. For instance, main guy is this guy, the Flame Wreathed Faceless. I didn't include it. There is a play to be made with this. I suppose you could also say Master Evolution, Evolve. They're things which haven't made it into this deck. They're cards which I feel are not... I don't know, they are good cards, but for this deck anyway, I just wanted to have really everything that I thought was just the best for... This is like an amalgamation of all the different things that I feel are important. It's taken me quite a while to get to this stage, so yeah, I think it's pretty solid deck this. But like I say, this... I mean, it's a really good card, a 7/7 for 4. But you would need to play the Sentinel, Lava Shock. You'd need to really play a different kind of deck for that. But yeah, the real thing is these two: the Jeweled Scarab and Totem Golem. I've tried messing around having 2 Totem Golems or 2 Jeweled Scarabs, but I think just one of each is probably overall for the best. But yeah, there's some really strong plays in here. Obviously, you can tell it's fairly legendary. Well, there's 4 legendaries. Let's look at them. Halaziel the Ascended. This is actually the first legendary that I got. It's an amazing card. One of the good things as well, of course, with the Scarabs, you can get Healing Wave. But yeah, you can literally, I mean, for instance, against Grim Patron decks or something. They often are forced to do their play on their turn. So if you can get Halaziel with Lightning Storm, you're going to probably get like 15 health back at least. There is, of course, the play doing. The thing is, right, is sometimes you do have to make. It's an interesting thing because in the past, what would happen is the face decks would rush you down really in the early turns, like say between turns 1 and 6, something like that. Now what you get is this strange thing where not much happens in the first few turns, and then between like 6 and 10 you get like almost like a face deck that with the bigger minions. So what you can be is you can be in a situation where you're very low health, say against a warrior who's got all legendaries or something. You can be in very low health. For instance, there was this turn. I was on 3 health by about turn 10. They had 28 and like 6 armor or something. And then I was able to. Then I had a choice between doing Halaziel. But then I had the choice of elemental destruction is difficult. And there's a reason there's only one. It's because, of course, you can get unbelievable healing from it. But often, what you want to do is just put if you can get to that point where you feel the direction of the game is starting to turn, maybe in between sort of turns 10 to 20, then you may want to just pair up Halaziel with Crackle, for instance, if you can get board clear, and then you get back to say about 10 health. I guess against Warrior, obviously you do different things against other classes. This is the game that I was thinking of the most. But yeah, other interesting cards, a Hammer of Twilight. This is a pretty awesome card, really. I don't believe is there any other thing that has a death rattle of summon a minion? Not that I can think of. In fact, I don't think, apart from... Is there any other death... Yeah, there are some death rattle things, like return the weapon to your hand, and obviously do 1 damage with Warrior. Yeah, and then some of the things change your hero power as well, I think. But to actually summon a minion, this means that you can start controlling the board from that second swing, which is pretty useful actually. Very, very good card this. Obviously it's got the same stats as True Silver Champion, but with a little extra bonus of summoning a minion, which can easily get control. Thing from below, it has to be 2 of them. It's just such a powerful thing. To get a 5/5 out for often 0 is pretty amazing. If you can put both of them on the board, you know, like early on in the game against a mage, put them early on, put them both on the board, you can get a lot of value out of that. Obviously 2 hexes, you know, bread and butter really, and they can really change the outcome of the game. Ancestral knowledge, ideally, I mean, yeah, it's pretty good with Tunnel Trog. You know, if you can keep the coin and just do Tunnel Trog, Ancestral knowledge, it can be very strong play to get a good trade out for, say, a 2/3 or something like that. Earthshock, you do need silence. Because of the nerf to the owl and the fact that the spell break is not very good, the fact that both priest and shaman have got good silence, but obviously the shaman silence, I mean, the shaman silence really is the best card, but you do want to think carefully before using it. If you are taking a bit of damage at the beginning, say from, you know, like a 2/3 or something, or well, not 2/3, but like a 3/2 you may want to use on. I remember I had a cool Taskmaster, and I got a spell power totem, and I thought, should I use it? And I thought, no, it's not really worth using it if it's a small amount of damage. You have to kind of have a little bit of sort of faith with the totems. You know, getting defensive totems. You know, I mean, basically, if you get the taunt totem or you get the spell power totem, they're going to be targets. So it's not like. So that's the important. You really have to do something with the totems. Using the flame tongue as well is very useful. I mean, and this is why I think From Below is so good, because you've got the. I mean, this is why I thought about, because of the combo, why I thought about not having. But I just thought the Scab is just. It's just too important as a situational card. If you know what you're going to face, there's so many good things you can get from it early on, and you can kind of predict what your opponent's going to have. Another thing that's important is that Rockbiter. You see, what I tend to do with this is I tend to favour using Lightning Bolt as opposed to Rockbiter, and just trying to control the overload. Because you see, Rockbiter is going to work so well with Alakir. I mean, obviously, a perfect Alakir combo, you know, in turn 10 will give you 18 damage. So, but often even so, yeah, you may. I mean, a lot of the time you will have to use Rockbiter, but you want to save. It's very important, I think, to save at least one if it's going to be quite a long game, just for that 12 damage at the end, because that is, you know, you need to have that big damage at the end, big combo at the end, and it is a big combo. 12 damage is obviously a big combo, so yeah. Stormcrack can be very good. Ideal really when you're in sort of turn 4 or 5 and you've got, say, a few totems. You mean the chances of getting spell power will be much lower, much higher rather. Well, depending how you look at it, I suppose. Well, yeah, no, it'll be higher either way, wouldn't it? Yeah, no, it'll be a much higher chance anyway of getting spell power totem. Crackle again. You see, the thing about Crackle is that sometimes you will play it and you will just have to accept the damage if you only get 3. For instance, you're going to want to play it on something with 4 health, because that gives you a 75% chance of getting it. But if you do get 3, don't just follow it up with a lightning bolt, because that is bad value. Because you will kill the minion, but you just can't do that. If they do something to the minion or heal it, then that'll give you an excuse to put the lightning bolt in. But you don't really want to be. If you just get 3 on it, a lot of these things you just have to run that sort of probabilistic risk of not getting it. If you don't get it, you can't. You know, if you've got a lightning storm to back it up, you just have to take. Say you do a 4/4 and it does 3 damage. You just have to put it into the lightning storm next turn. The overload is only 1, so you do have to be mindful of the number of overload. So yeah, I mean, really the only things that overload really affects obviously elemental destruction and ancestral knowledge. I don't believe there's and lightning storm, of course. But yeah, Black Knight is good for taunt. So yeah, really, I mean, the good thing about having Black Knight and Earthshock is that it will sort out the taunt problems pretty well. Certain Golem is really useful early game, and you can sometimes do stuff with the Flame Tongue Totem. If you do get a really strong opening hand, like say against the Warlock, and they don't do the 3/4. For instance, I had a Warlock and I managed to kill both the Malygos and the Doom Guard, just using very basic stuff like a Stormcrack and a buffed up Tunnel Drug. If you can get those out, if you can get rid of those early, because those 3/4s are going to be annoying in Warlock decks. And yeah, I mean, Fire Elemental is still such a good card just because it's the only card that does 3 damage directly. To do 3 damage as a battle cry is incredible. But yeah, never underestimate this card because it is just awesome. You can really get a huge amount of damage out of it. And yeah, you want to be, and because of the low mana cost, you see a 4/6 for 5 is already quite good. If you look at a Yeti, it's a 4/5 for 5, which is, and it's seen as like an incredible card. So yeah, 4/6 for 5 is pretty good. I mean, obviously there are better. I mean, it's got the same stats as a Druid of the Claw, so it's a pretty good card, pretty strong card. It will need to be removed with, something decent. But like I said, the Elemental Destruction play is not really worth it. You really have to decide whether it's worth it or not. You need to. I mean, put it this way: I would say if you can do it, and you can go from get a huge amount of health back. There's loads of minions on the board. You're going to clear the board. Yeah, I mean, and sometimes the game will be very minion heavy. So, I mean, the lowest you can get from Lightning Storm, Elemental Destruction, if you were to play them both on the same turn. This is obviously you wouldn't be able to play them both on the same turn with Halaziel, but sometimes you will just need to clear the board. But yeah, you can get a minimum of 6 damage, and it will be a minimum of 8 damage. Of course, if I mean, it's almost like an anomalous, isn't it? I mean, it is exactly like that. But yeah, it'll be a minimum of 8 damage if you get spell power, and you will be able to, of course, play them both on the same turn. And you see, the advantage with the Shaman is that the area of effect spells are so low cost. They're sure you've got no chance the next turn. That's just something which you just have to accept, I think, as Shaman. You see, when you look at Flame Rift Faceless, probably the Fire God Destroyer, I would say, is probably a better card because of the lower overload. Because it's very hard to do anything with the Faceless. But I don't know. I still do like the Face. It's just another type of deck. Maybe when I do the standard mode deck, I'll do that one. I'll try. There's also stuff with Ancestors Call and having a lot of heavy minions on there and stuff. Tucker Titanic is another good card to get out of the Scarab as well. Playing Warlock. Healing Wave maybe for Warrior, that sort of thing. But yeah, pretty cool deck. I found it to be very effective in wild mode. So obviously Dr. Boom, but everyone knows Dr. Boom. Alright, thanks for watching.